Hey beauties, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a get ready with me for a summer wedding. Using the L'Oreal Palette Nude 1, I created a rosy gold eye with a mauvey lip and a fun 20s inspired hairdo. Keep watching and see what you think. So after applying my moisturizer, I like to start with my Maybelline Master Prime in Blur and Smooth. I use this to prime the skin around my T-zone because I have some odd texture and pores that I like to perfect before I continue on. I then use the L'Oreal Magic Lumi Primer to give myself a little bit of a glow and some extra staying power. The Lumi Primer has a really gorgeous opalescent sheen that helps to bring a little bit of life back into my pale skin. Then for a little bit of extra hydration and even more staying power, I like to spray my face using the Skindinavia Primer Setting Spray. It's a little bit like the Smashbox one that everyone's into right now. Then, I go in with my new favorite L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte Foundation. I just discovered this and it is seriously amazing. I've fallen in love with it and I'm not usually a matte foundation girl. I'm using a Real Techniques Miracle Complexion sponge to blend this all over my face, up my forehead, down my neck, all those sorts of areas. Once I'm done blending in all of my foundation, I'm going to do my brows off camera. I use the Anastasia DipBrow Pomade in the shade Caramel, and I'm really obsessed with it. I don't think that I'm ever going to go back to anything else. Once I've done that, I like to set it using the L'Oreal Brow Stylist Plumper Gel. Next, I'm going to start on my eyes using the Nars Smudgeproof Eyeshadow Primer. I'm going to place this all over the lid and then blend it all the way up to my brow bone and all the way underneath my eye as well. Next, I'm going to take the lightest highlighting shade from the Kat Von D Shade and Light Contour Palette, and I'm going to place this all over top of the primer. I'm doing this because I want to create an even base for my eyeshadow to stick to, and it's a little bit easier to blend eyeshadow when it's on top of a powder and not a liquid. Next, I'm taking the L'Oreal Palette Nude 1, and this is the star of the show. I'm using the third shade, which is a muted rosy brown, as my transition. I'm running it from corner to corner and blending heavily just to make sure that I've got an even base. Once my transition is done, I'm going to go back into that palette and grab that same muted rosy shade. I'm going to mix it with a deeper, more chocolatey brown, and that will be my crease color. I'm going to use a smaller detailed brush. This is the Morphe E17, and it fits perfectly into my crease. I'm concentrating this mixture of shades in the outer corner of my eye and then dragging it further into the crease. I want to create depth, but I want it to be very soft, so I'm building color and adding many layers to create that effect. After I've added that first layer, I'm going to blend. Blending is so key to this look because you want it to look very soft but layered. Then I'm going to go back into that chocolate brown, but only that chocolate brown, and I'm going to use that to carve out the outer V of my eye. As you can see, I'm dragging that chocolate brown out a little bit farther into a sort of a wing shape. And it's a little bit messy, but that's okay because I'm going to clean it up later with a makeup wipe. Next, I'm taking the second shade in the palette, which is a gorgeous rose gold with a peachy undertone, and I'm placing that over the entirety of my lid. Once I've applied that shade, I'm going to do a little bit of blending before going back into that chocolate brown to deepen up the crease. Again, I want this look to have depth, but I don't want it to be harsh, so layering like this is really key. Next, I'm taking a clean blending brush and I'm going over all of the edges to make sure that everything is perfectly blended before I go on to the L'Oreal Infallible Pigment in the shade Hourglass Beige. This is my absolute favorite part of this look. It is a gorgeous shimmery shadow that I'm adding just to the inner corner and the very center of my lid. This is going to add a big pop of color and a highlight that you'll notice from all across the room. And of course, I'm taking that blending brush and going over that shadow to make sure everything is smoothly transitioned. Now moving on, I've used a makeup wipe to clean up the edges, and now I'm going on to my liquid liner. The Kat Von D Tattoo Liner in Trooper is my absolute favorite and my go-to for pretty much any look. Right now I'm just carving out the base and the shape of the wing to see exactly how big I want it and where I want it to go. I like this liner because it's so incredibly easy to use. The tip is actually a brush and it's really flexible, but at the same time it doesn't go where you don't want it to go. It's really easy to maneuver and the formula is incredibly black and does not go anywhere. Once I finish my eyeliner, I like to curl my lashes before moving on to my little lash routine that I've become addicted to. I was recently introduced to layering mascaras and I've become a little bit obsessed. Right now I'm really loving the Maybelline Lash Sensational layered with the Maybelline Colossal Mascara. They're both really great at doing their own little thing, but put together they are a powerhouse. Once my mascara is done, I like to move on to doing my concealer. And I'm a bit of a concealer junkie, so this is where it gets fun. I apply my Maybelline Master Conceal in the shade Fair underneath my eyes in a V shape, going down the side of my nose and up to my brow bone. I then use the Morphe G1 brush to press this into the skin in patting or stippling motions. Once all of the concealer is blended, I then go to my Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder, and I use a powder puff to press this on top of the concealer, again pressing into the skin. And then I leave it there. I let it sit there for a good 5 minutes or so to bake or cook or whatever you want to call it. I just feel like this really helps the concealer stay all day long without any sort of creasing. I will then do the exact same thing on any spots or blemishes I might have. And if you guys want to know a little bit more about why I do my concealer this way, I have a blog post that I'll link down below in the description bar. Once time is up, I'm going to use an e.l.f. blush brush to sweep away any excess powder that might still be sitting on the skin, and then my concealer is done. Now to finish off the eyes, I'm going to go back into the palette and grab that first transition shade and run that along my lower lash line, blending as I go. Then I'm going to go back in and grab the chocolate brown shade, and I'm going to put that on the outer third of my lower lash line to create a little bit of depth. Then I'm going to take the Morphe 504 brush and I'm going to blend all of those colors out as evenly as I can before switching to a smaller brush and taking the rose gold shade to add to the inner third of my eye. And of course, to add that pop of shine, I'm going to put that pressed pigment in the inner corner of my eye and drag it down just a little bit. And now moving on to the face, I'm going to contour using the Kat Von D Shade and Light Contour Palette. I'm using the first shade, which is the most cool tone shade, to carve out my cheekbones using a Morphe brush. I really like this brush because it gives you that ability to carve out your cheekbones, but it also blends really well. I'll take my contour not only on my cheekbones, but also up to my temples, down my nose, and under my chin. I'm then going to switch to the Real Techniques contour brush, which is a little bit rounder and fluffier. I like to use this afterwards just to get that extra blended effect because you really don't want any harsh lines or demarcation where you can see where things start and finish. Next, I'm going to move on to bronzing, and I'm going to use the Real Techniques blush brush in the second shade in the Kat Von D contour kit. This one's a little bit warmer and a little bit better for bronzing than for contouring. I'm applying this all over my forehead, my cheekbones, down my chin, all of those sorts of places, and I'm even dragging it down my neck so that my face and my body match. Now moving on to blush, I'm taking the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Blush Palette and I'm mixing Mood Exposure and Incandescent Electra. I'm taking an e.l.f. blush brush to tap this along my cheeks going up to my forehead. The little bit of shimmer in these blushes creates a gorgeous glow, but to add a little bit more glow, I'm going to move on to my favorite Mary Luminizer from The Balm. I'm going to place this on the high points of my face, so my cheekbones, just above my brow bone, on the tip of my nose, my cupid's bow, all the places that would be hit by sunlight. I love a pretty intense highlight, and especially on this day when I was going to a summer wedding, I wanted that goddess glow. So I added a bit more than I usually would, but it's totally okay if you're going to enjoy it. And of course, no look is complete without lips, so I'm taking this liner from NYX, the Slim Lip Liner in the shade Natural. I've become so obsessed with these lip liners. I have about 7 or 8 of them, and they are so incredibly creamy and easy to apply. I honestly prefer them over some of my more expensive options like MAC. They're so accessible too. They're so much easier to get a hold of, and for $4 and some odd cents, they're so much more affordable. I also love that they come in a bunch of different colors and colors that you wouldn't necessarily think of. Once I finish the outline, I will fill in my entire lip to create an even base for the lipstick. I'm using the Maybelline Color Sensational Creamy Matte Lipstick in the shade Lust to Blush. It's a gorgeous rosy mauve shade with a bit of purple that just looks stunning for spring and summer. Now that the makeup is done, I want to finish off my hair. I curled it earlier to give it time to set, but I want to add a little bit of shine and hydration. So I'm using the Herbal Essences Dry Oil Spray. I really like this because it's weightless and it adds that shine without feeling greasy whatsoever. And of course, I need to add some hairspray so my style lasts all night long. So I'm using a longtime favorite, the L'Oreal Elle Knit, but this one is new and improved with argan oil. So there you go, that's the final look. A rose gold eye with a little bit of sparkle and a mauvey lip. It's such a beautiful look for any sort of event. You can wear it to a wedding like I did, or even day to day, hanging out with your friends, going out to dinner, or even to work. It's versatile and neutral, but it has that little pop of something special that really makes it stand out. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and maybe leave a comment down below telling me what you would wear to a summer wedding. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye!